Hey everybody, welcome to a new series of reviewing comics. This is going to be a little bit different than what I normally do, actually a lot different. This is a new series that I'm going to be doing with just the X-Men. Um, but before I get into that, I'd like to show you some of my work that helps contribute to support the channel. And I produce a 12-page full-color comic every month for patrons, and you can get these at Patreon and look under Alexander Turbin, or you can go to alexanderturbin.com and check out all the different stuff I've done, the Mutandis, Forlorn, Random Access, lots of different stuff. You can also check me out at Instagram at alexturbin04401. And if you like the video, I hope you decide to subscribe and hit the notification bell and the like button. So let's get to it. Like I said, this is going to be quite a bit different than what I normally do. I normally review some comics and kind of go into what they're like, and the good, the bad, the ugly of the writing and the art and everything. But this is actually more of an autobiography. I think that's right. I think autobiography is when you tell your own story. And this is going to be me telling my life through comics. Every year since I was 13, I've got the X-Men, except for the last few years when I kind of have not really been able to get them. But so that's 38 years of X-Men that I have. And I'm going to kind of travel through my life and also what was happening in the X-Men at the same time, and why I enjoyed it, and what was going on in my own personal life, and how it affected me, and how the X-Men helped me. There's a lot of things that happened to me before I started reading comics and before I started liking the X-Men. And hopefully that I'm going to be kind of triggered to, my memory will be triggered to kind of go back and remember things and share with you things that have happened over the years, even when I wasn't reading the X-Men, because that pretty much formulates who I was and going forward. So it started with, I had gotten into comic books for a few months. I mostly got Savage Sword of Conan, because I really like Conan. But also, let's backtrack a little bit. So when I was 13, about 13, my mom and her new husband, because my mom and my dad had divorced when I was like 5 or 6. And so I lived with my mom in Bangor on 3rd Street, which is the other side of the city of where I was going to go. Yeah, I lived there for until I was like 12 or so. But there was also intermittent. We moved to Virginia for a year, and we also stayed on the coast in Sullivan for a year or so. And but we always traveled back to Bangor, and that was where I was born and bred. But so my mom was separating from my stepdad, Jim, and so she needed some time to for herself to figure things out. And I really kind of understood that, even at 13, because I knew what was going on with her. So she left me with my dad, who lived on Highland Avenue in this big green, almost Victorian house. It was called Highland Avenue for a reason. I think every Highland Avenue in every city is like the steepest road in the city. And the road went to, at the top of the road was the water tower, which has a large ring of lights around the top. and you could really see the rings on top of the water tower from anywhere in Bangor. I'm not sure if it still goes on or not, um, but it's kind of a local site because you know exactly where you are just by looking at the rings on the water tower wherever you are at night. Um, it's kind of a beautiful site. Um, but so yeah, she left me with my dad. I think it was maybe for a year, and I understood that she was leaving me with my dad because I knew before she did, maybe 7 or 8 months, that her husband had been cheating on her. We were living in, or maybe we had just spent the summers. I think we were living there at that time, North Sullivan, which is on the coast. They had built a really nice, kind of a cross between a house and a cabin, more homey than a cabin, but not quite, didn't quite have the amenities of a house. I think we had an outhouse. We didn't have any running water, or we didn't have any sewage. We didn't have any sewage. I think we had running water. And we were maybe quarter of a mile from the ocean. And every day we would go down to the ocean, or every other day or whatever, and we would take a towel, and it was really kind of too cold to swim, but we would go down there and lay on the rocks and explore the coast and stuff. Is probably one of the most beautiful places on earth that you could possibly be. And we were very close. Like I said, maybe a quarter of a mile, and you would go past this dirt road, and then you would go down a hill with thick brush and trees, and there was like moss and vines and ferns and all kinds of different Maine wildlife. It was truly beautiful, and it looked like something from out of Excalibur. Um, so Jim had two kids, Jim and Michelle, and they would visit periodically throughout my life while he was my stepdad. And they were about my age, maybe a little older, maybe a little younger. I can't really remember. But Michelle, I think, was visiting by herself. And so I went down to, they had gone down to the coastline, and we had like a little raft, and they had gone down there a few minutes before I had. I think we were gonna all meet there, and so I'm going down along the path, and I get close to the coastline, and I hear them talking, and it's Jim saying to Michelle, "So do you like what's her name?" It was definitely a woman's name. I don't think I can't remember the woman's name. Um, and she was like, "Yeah, she's okay. She's nice, I guess." So I'm not going to say I was eavesdropping, because I was just coming down and I had no intention of listening in on their conversation. But that's, screw that. They were talking about him cheating on my mother. And I didn't know what to do. I didn't know what to make of it. And I still to this day don't know if I made the right decision by not telling her. I didn't go to her and say what I heard, thinking that she might not believe me, it would ruin her life, all of these different things. And I was only like maybe 12 at the time, maybe 11 or 12. So I really don't know what I should have done or what I could have done. Um, so fast forward that, months later, maybe 7 or 8 months or whatever, she finds out about it. And she almost automatically separates from him, as you probably should. And she says she needs to take some time and figure out what she wants to do, what's going on. And so she goes to Daytona Beach to stay for a while. She didn't know how long it was going to be. I didn't know how long it was going to be. And she dropped me off at my dad's. And I don't know whether he was happy or sad or whatever that I was going to live with him, because he was definitely a weekend dad, and I would see him maybe every weekend, every other weekend, once a month, stuff like that. He had his own business and his own life, and he really, I don't think he had time for a son, and I don't think he really understood what was going on. But he welcomed me into his house, the big greenhouse, and I was alone. He was not a very affectionate father. He was kind of a womanizer and spent most of his time either with his business or trying to find a woman, which I can understand that. But really, he should have spent more time with me under the circumstances. And, well, I guess I'll get more into that later. But I kind of want to get into the comic book before my time runs out, because I don't want to make the video too long. But so I was reading a bunch of Conans, and I can't remember what other books I was reading. I think, I don't know whether Daredevil, I was reading Daredevil at the time, because I got into Daredevil right when Miller started doing his second run. Or whether I was just experimenting with some Spider-Mans or some whatever, Avengers, whatever. I have a lot more to say about everything, but that will come as the videos come out. But I remember specifically that I saw the X-Men 198 on the shelves, on the racks at Mr. Paperback, which was where I got all of my comics. I would walk from Highland Avenue, which was maybe half a mile away from downtown, and I've got lots of things to say about that too, which will come with more videos. But Mr. Paperback was where I would get all my comic books, and I would go down there almost every day, just kind of to get some exercise and get out of the house and stuff. Like I said, I was alone. I didn't really have any friends there, and my dad didn't really have time for me. So, like I think a lot of people, I retreated into comic books. They were the thing that was going to be steady in my life, and I kind of lived vicariously through them, especially the X-Men. But let me get back to 198. 198, I saw this cover, and I saw the interior artwork, Barry Windsor Smith, who is beautiful. I love Barry Windsor Smith. He is maybe one of my top 5 favorite artists. He's just beautiful, and I love him. But at the time, my little 12, 13-year-old brain could not understand it. I could not understand this crazy art that was going on. So the next issue, because I had thought about the X-Men previously, and I'll get into that in other videos as well. This was X-Men 199. And this was really kind of the turning point in my youth, in my human development in my life. And I know that I haven't really gotten into the comic or what it's about or anything. But this is kind of an experiment for me. And I think maybe I'll make a part 2 where I kind of really go more into 199, because this was the first X-Men comic I actually read. I knew about the X-Men from other comics. I think I had seen some crossovers and stuff like that, and I had seen them before when I was really, really young. And I remember specifically when I was like 8 or 9 or something, I had read an X-Men comic, and in the X-Men comic it was Wolverine fighting Nightcrawler, and I think at the time, I think it was some kind of training exercise they were doing, but they were in the woods and Nightcrawler was fighting Wolverine, and it scared the heck out of me. And so I really was scared of the X-Men. But as all artists know, you're drawn to what terrifies you. You're drawn to what challenges you. And so I knew that the X-Men was going to be a challenge to enjoy, a challenge to myself, and it has been. And so I guess this is where I'm going to leave it. I know this hasn't really been a review, and I will get back into that. It's not going to be so much a review as a kind of going it through and seeing what what it is. Um, but yeah, the X-Men has been in my life for 38 years, and I love it. And there's lots more to say, and I hope you guys tune in next time. Um, Thanks a lot for watching.